When We Were Young by A. Milne. Shoes and stockings. There's a cavern in the mountain where the old men meet. Hammer, 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 hammer. They make gold slippers for my lady's feet. Hammer, 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 hammer. My lady is marrying her own true knight, while her gown and her veil is white. But she must have slippers on her dainty feet. Hammer, 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 hammer. There's a cottage by the river where the old wives meet. Chatter, 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 chatter. They weave gold stockings for my lady's feet. Chatter, 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 chatter. My lady is going to her own true man, youth to youth since the world began. But she must have stockings on her dainty feet. Chatter, 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 chatter. Sand between the toes. I went down to the shouting sea, taking Christopher down with me, for nurse had given us 6 pence each, and down we went to the beach. We had sand in the eyes and the ears and the nose, and sand in the hair and the sand between the toes. Whenever a good nor'wester blows, Christopher is certain of sand between the toes. The sea was galloping, gray and white. Christopher clutched his 6 pence tight. We clambered over the humping sand, and Christopher held my hand. We had sand in the eyes and the ears and the nose, and sand in the hair and sand between the toes. Whenever a good nor'wester blows, Christopher is certain of sand between the toes. There was a roaring in the sky. The seagulls cried as they flew by. We tried to talk but had to shout. Nobody else was out. When we got home, we had sand in the hair, in the eyes and the ears and everywhere. Whenever a good nor'wester blows, Christopher is found with sand between the toes. Knight and ladies. There is in my old picture book a page in which I like to look, where knights and squires come riding down the cobbles of some steep old town, and ladies from beneath the eaves flutter their bravest handkerchiefs, or smiling proudly toss down kings. But that was in the Middle Ages. It wouldn't happen now, but still, whenever I look up the hill, where dark against the green and blue, the first come marching 2 by 2. I wonder if perhaps I might see suddenly a shining knight, winding his way from blue to green, exactly as it would have been those many, many years ago. Perhaps I might, you never know. Little Bo Peep and Little Blue. What have you done with your sheep, Little Bo Peep? What have you done with your sheep, Bo Peep? Little Boy Blue, what fun! I've lost them, everyone. Oh, what a thing to have done, Little Bo Peep. What have you done with your sheep, Little Boy Blue? What have you done with your sheep, Boy Blue? Little Bo Peep, my sheep, went off when I was asleep. I'm sorry about your sheep, Little Boy Blue. What are you going to do? Little Bo Peep, what are you going to do, Bo Peep? Little Boy Blue, you'll see, they'll all come home to tea. They wouldn't do that for me, Little Bo Peep. What are you going to do, Little Boy Blue? What are you going to do, Boy Blue? Little Bo Peep, oh Blue, my horn for an hour or so. Isn't that rather slow, Little Boy Blue? Whom are you going to marry, little Bo Peep? Whom are you going to marry, Bo Peep? Little boy blue, I'd like to marry you. I think I should like it too, little Bo Peep. Where are we going to live, little boy blue? Where are we going to live, boy blue? Little Bo Peep, up in the hills with the sheep, and you'll love your little Bo Peep, little boy blue. I'll love you forever and ever, little Bo Peep. I'll love you forever and ever, Bo Peep. Little boy blue, my dear, keep near, keep very near. I shall be always here, little Bo Peep. The mirror. Between the woods the afternoon is fallen in a cold swoon. The sun looks down from quiet skies to where a quieter water lies, and silent trees stoop down to trees. And there I saw a white swan make another white swan in the lake, and breast to breast both motionless, they waited for the wind's caress, and all the water was at ease. Ooh, halfway down the stairs is the stair where I sit. There isn't any other stair quite like it. I am not at the bottom, I am not at the top, so this is the stair where I always stop. Halfway up the stairs isn't up, and isn't down. It isn't in the nursery, it isn't in the town. And all sorts of funny thoughts run around my head. It isn't really anywhere, it's somewhere else instead. The invaders. In careless patches through the woods, the clumps of yellow primrose stood, and sheets of white anemones, like driven snow against the trees, had covered up the violet, but left the bluebell bluer yet. Along the narrow carpet ride, with primroses on either side, between their shadows and the sun, the cows come slowly one by one, breathing the early morning air and leaving it still sweeter there. And one by one, intent upon their purposes, they followed on in order's silence, and they were gone. But all the little wood was still, and if it waited so until some blackbird on an outpost yew, watching the slow procession through, lifted his yellow beak at last to whistle, and the line had passed, then all the wood began to sing its morning anthem to the spring. Before tea. Emmeline has not been seen for more than a week. She slipped between the two tall trees at the end of the green. We all went after her. Emmeline! Emmeline, I didn't mean. I only said that your hands weren't clean. We went to the trees at the end of the green, but Emmeline was not to be seen. Emmeline came slipping between the two tall trees at the end of the green. We all ran up to her. Emmeline, where have you been? Where have you been? Why, it's more than a week. And Emmeline said, Sillies, I went and saw the queen. She says my hands are perfectly clean. Teddy bear. A bear, however hard he tries, grows tubby without exercise. Our teddy bear is short and fat, which is not to be wondered at. He gets what exercise he can by falling off the ottoman, but generally seems to lack the energy to clamber back. Now, tubbiness is just the thing which gets a fellow wondering, and Teddy worried lots about the fact that he was rather stout. He thought, if only I were thin, but how does anyone begin? He thought, it really isn't fair to grudge me exercise and air. For many weeks he pressed in vain his nose against the window pane, and envied those who walked about, reducing their unwonted stout. None of the people he could see is quite, he said, as fat as me. Then, with a still more moving sigh, I mean, he said, as fat as I. Now Teddy, as was only right, slept in the ottoman at night, and with him crowded in as well more animals than I can tell. Not only these, but books and things, such as kind relation brings, old tales of once upon a time, and history retold in rhyme. One night it happened that he took a peep at an old picture book, wherein he came across the chance a picture of King of France, a stoutish man, and down below those words King Louis so-and-so, nicknamed the Handsome. There he sat, and, think of it, the man was fat. Our bear rejoiced like anything to read about this famous king, nicknamed the Handsome. There he sat, and certainly the man was fat. Nicknamed the Handsome, not a doubt, the man was definitely stout. Why then a bear for all his tub might yet be named the handsome cub. Might yet be named, or did he mean that years ago he said might have been? For now he felt a slight misgiving. Is Louis so still living? Fashions and beauty have a way of altering from day to day. Is handsome Louis with us yet? Unfortunately, I forget. Next morning, nose to window pane, the doubt occurred to him again. One question hammered in his head. Is he alive or is he dead? Thus nose to pane he pondered, but the lattice window, loosely shut, swung open with one startled, "Oh!" Our Teddy disappeared below. There happened to be passing by a plump man with a twinkling eye, who, seeking Teddy in the street, raised him politely to his feet, and murmured kindly in his ear soft words of comfort and cheer. Well, allow me, not at all, tut, a very nasty fall." Our Teddy answered not a word. It's doubtful if he even heard. Our bear could only look and look, the stout name in the picture book. That handsome king, could this be he, the man of adiposity? Impossible, he thought, but with still no harm in asking. Yes, I will. Are you, he said, by any chance, His Majesty the King of France? The other answered, I am that, bestowed stiffly and removed his hat. Then said, excuse me, with an air, but it is Mr. Edward Bear. And Teddy, bending very low, replied politely, even so. They stood beneath the window there, the king and Edward Bear, and handsome if a stipple fat, talked carelessly of this and that. Then said His Majesty, well, I must get on, and rang a bell. You're Bear, I think, he smiled. Good day, and turned and went upon his way. A bear, however, hard he tries, grows stubby without exercise. Our teddy bear is short and fat, which is not to be wondered at. But do you think it worries him to know that he is far from slim? No, just the other way around. He's proud of being short and stout. Bad Sir Brian Botany. Sir Brian had a battle axe with great big knobs on. He went among the villagers and blipped them on the head. On Wednesday and on Saturday, but mostly on the latter day, he called at all the cottages, and this is what he said. I am Sir Brian, tingling, I am Sir Brian, rat-tat. I am Sir Brian, as bold as lion. Take that, and that, and that. Sir Brian had a pair of boots with great big spurs on, a fighting pair of which he was particularly fond. On Tuesday and on Friday, just to make the street look tidy, he'd collect the passing villagers and kick them in the pond. I am Sir Brian. Spurlash. I am Sir Brian. Spurlash. I am Sir Brian, as bold as a lion. Is anyone else for a wash? Sir Brian woke one morning and he couldn't find his battle axe. He walked into the village in his second pair of boots. He had gone 100 paces when the street was full of faces, and the villagers were round him with ironical salutes. You are Sir Brian? Indeed. You are Sir Brian, dear, dear. You are Sir Brian, as bold as a lion. Delighted to meet you here. Sir Brian went a journey, and he found a lot of duckweed. They pulled him out and dried him, and they blipped him on the head. They took him by the breeches, and they hurled him into ditches, and they pushed him under water, and this is what they said. You are Sir Brian, don't laugh. You are Sir Brian, don't cry. You are Sir Brian, as bold as a lion, so Sir Brian the lion, goodbye. Sir Brian struggled home again and chopped up his battle axe. Sir Brian took his fighting boots and threw them in the fire. He is quite a different person now. He hasn't got his spurs on, and he goes about the village as B. Batonymy, Esquire. I am Sir Brian? Oh no. I am Sir Brian. Who's he? I haven't got any title. I'm Botany. Plain Mr. Botany B. In the fashion. A lion has a tail, and a very fine tail, and so has an elephant, and so has a whale, and so has a crocodile, and so has a quail. They all got tails but me. If I had a sixpence, I would buy one. I'd say to the shopman, let me try one. I'd say to the elephant, this is my one. They'd all come around to see. Then I'd say to the lion, why, you've got a tail. So has the elephant, and so has the whale. And look, there's a crocodile. He's got a tail. You've all got tails like me. The Alchemist. There lies an old man at the top of the street, and the end of his beard reaches down to his feet. And he's just one person I'm longing to meet. I think that he sounds so exciting. For he talks all day to his tortoise-shell cat, and he asks about that and explains about that. And at night he puts on a big white wig hat and sits in the writing room writing. He has worked all his life, and he's terribly old, at a wonderful spell which say, lo and behold, your nursery fender is gold, and it's gold, or the tongs or the rod for the curtain. But somehow he hasn't got hold of it quite, or the liquid you pour on it first isn't right. So that's why he works at night after night, until he knows that he can do it for certain. So as not to go to sleep. Growing up. I've got shoes with grown laces, I've got knickers and a pair of braces. I'm all ready to run some races. Who's coming out with me? I've got a nice new pair of braces, I've got shoes with new brown laces. I know wonderfully paddle places. Who's coming out with me? Every morning my new graces, thank you God for my nice braces. I can tie my new brown laces. Who's coming out with me? If I were king. I often wish I were a king, and then I could do anything. If only I were king of Spain, I'd take my hat off in the rain. If only I were king of France, I wouldn't brush my hair for aunts. I think if I were king of Greece, I'd push things off the mantelpiece. If I were king of Norway, I'd ask an elephant to stay. If I were king of Babylon, I'd leave my button gloves undone. If I were king of Timbuktu, I'd think of lovely things to do. If I were king of anything, I'd tell the soldiers I'm the king. Vespers. Little boy kneels at the foot of the bed, droops on the little hand's little gold head. Hush, hush, whisper who dares. Christopher Robin is saying his prayers. God bless, Mommy, I know that's right. Wasn't it fun in the bath tonight? The cold's so cold and the hot's so hot. Oh, God bless, Daddy, I quite forgot. If I open my fingers a little bit more, I can see Nanny's dressing gown on the floor. It is beautiful blue, but it hasn't got a hood. Oh, God bless Nanny and make her good. Mine has a hood, and I lie in bed and pull the hood right over my head. And I shut my eyes and I curl up small, and nobody knows that I'm there at all. Oh, thank you, God, for a lovely day. And what was the other I had to say? I said, bless Daddy, so what can it be? Oh, now I remember, God bless me. Little boy kneels at the foot of the bed, droops on the little hand's little gold head. Hush, hush, whisper who dares. Christopher Robin is saying his prayers. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel.